Hey, game designers, in this video, we're going to teach you guys how to export your animation that you create inside Adobe Animate into a animation sprite sheet. So let's go ahead and double check that our animation is working. Okay. All right, I'm going to do a few changes here to make sure that we are ready. The first thing you need to do is make sure that all your frames are animated. So even though you guys see here this last keyframe, even though no tweening is actually happening, let's go and click on these 5 limbs and go ahead and insert tweening, so that we have it all purple. Okay. Now let's go ahead and also do another thing. We're going to click on all spans of all tweens, and we're going to change the classic ease to ease in and out using quad. This will make our animation look a little smoother. Okay. And then now we're going to go ahead and change the background color. So if you just left click on the background like this, and you're in the document, okay, change the stage color right here to purple so that it's a color that we're not using, and we're making sure that we are not exporting the background color when we are making our sprite sheet. All right, so in order to create a sprite sheet, we need to turn all 5 symbols into one moving clip. Okay, so technically we don't have one animation. We have 5 separate animations, one for each limb. If we hold shift and select all of them like this, right click, convert layers to symbols, we can make a movie clip. So make sure that when you're creating this symbol, converting all the layers to symbol using moving clip, and we're going to go in here and type the name of this entire moving clip. We're going to call it Homer Walking Animation MC for movie clip. We're going to click OK. Now that we have one clip, if you scrub through, you won't see the animation, but if you double click on the symbol, it will open up the isolated mode of the movie clip, and now your animations are visible. Okay, so once we actually create the movie clip, it's pretty easy to turn it into the animation sheet. Go ahead and go to your library tab, and inside your library tab, you should see the name of the symbol you just created that uses a gear icon. So Homer Walking Animation Movie Clip MC. We're going to right click on it. You're going to click on Generate Sprite Sheet, and it's going to basically generate a sprite sheet from the animation. You notice that the background is not purple, so we know that we don't have that issue. Now, by default, trim and stack frames are on. So on my screen, you don't see it on, but on your screen, you should see it like this. Now, if you hold Alt, down, middle wheel, scroll down, you can kind of zoom out and see all of the sprites. Notice that they're all kind of jumbled up, right? That's because, again, trim and stack frames are on. I want you to turn these features off. This will make our life a lot easier when we go to slice it. So we're going to click on trim off and stack frames off. Notice that it does lag. I just left click once, but it doesn't actually get unclicked until much later. Now notice that we have 8 homers, 4 here, 4 here, 4 here, 4 here. So that's 8, 8, 8, 8. That's 24. And then you'll see here that we're missing 1. So that's 31 frames, right? This would have been 32. So we have exactly 31 frames for the 31 frames we have here. Make sure that you also have 31 frames. Now, yours might slice differently than mine. Mine has, again, 8 on each row. Yours might go up to 10 or 12 or 13. But whatever it is, just make sure that they're all not trimmed, no stack frames, and that you have all 31 of them. Okay? So again, the whole purpose of creating this animation sheet is that we could go back to Photoshop and individually clean up every single one of these images to make sure that we clean it up. So what we're going to do now that we have trim and stack frames off, we're going to leave all the other settings the same. Click on Browse and determine where you want to save this PNG. I'm going to save it in my Documents folder. That's the most logical place here. And just on the back of it, I'm going to click or type in for exporting or for editing or something. Okay, so for editing here, I'm going to click Save. I'm going to click Export. It's going to finish exporting. It's going to close it. I'm going to open up my File Explorer. I'm going to go to, sometimes you'll just see it right here under Recent Files, but if not, you can go to Documents. It should be done by date, the newest one that you have. So I'm going to click on Date here, and it should show me the files that I most recently worked on. Okay, so there it is, Homer Animation for Editing here. You're going to right-click on that file. You're going to open with, and we're going to open up with Photoshop. Okay, now once it opens up in Photoshop, I'm going to give you guys a couple of tools to help you edit these. Obviously, you guys know how to use paintbrush and eraser. Those are going to be your two main tools. But I'm going to show you a few more tools that can make your life a little bit easier. So this first frame looks pretty good because that's the one that we imported. Second one looks pretty good. I don't see any real issue I need to fix here. But on the third one, you can see quite a lot of issues. Actually, there's some issues here too. Let me show you guys real quickly. You guys zoom in real closely. Notice that there's a little bit of a crease here, right? A smudge created by the blue shape and caused some shading. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my normal brush pencil tool. Okay, and again, you can click on your pencil tool. It is written or somewhere inside of here, right? Click on your pencil tool, and you can go ahead and click on the color picker and just click on what color you want to color. And just go ahead and increase and decrease the size of your brush. Your brush settings are up here, what the hardness and what kind of brush you're using. I'm just going to use round, soft pressure size, okay, because this is kind of pixel art. And you can use your brackets to increase and decrease the size of your brush. And you're just going to like fix it up, clean it up here. So I clean up that little stroke line there. Go here, clean up that stroke line here. Now, if you're really picky, you can kind of get rid of some of the shading. And you see here, there's some like a little bit of imperfections there, a little bit of smearing happening over here. That's because we changed it into a PNG and we turned it into bitmaps, so some of these mistakes are here. I'm gonna hold space, left click pan over. Over here, you see the same little smudges here, so I'm just gonna go ahead and use my brush tool. There, clean up the crease there. Maybe clean up some creases here. If you mess up, you can always Control Z. If you paint too much, you could just use the eraser tool, which is hotkey E, right? And I can just erase it. I could increase the size of my eraser and erase it. Okay, so those are the main ways of doing it. Now I'm gonna show you guys some new tools. So before we do that, let's go ahead and let me finish my brush here. Go back to my pencil tool. Get rid of some of these smudges here. Okay, I'm gonna smudge this right here and clean this up right there. Okay, clean up the smudge right here. I'm gonna kind of clean up this smudge right. Oh, this is the wrong one, eraser tool. I'm gonna use my eraser tool right there. I'm gonna decrease the size of my brush, delete some of these pixels right here. Okay, and now I'm gonna show you guys a new tool that you never used before. This tool is called the stamp tool. So if you left click here, and you see under the S category, you see clone stamp tool and pattern stamp tool. I'm gonna use a clone stamp tool and teach you guys how to use that. So the clone stamp tool is a 2-feature button. There is left click drag, which will paint whatever is on your brush. Okay, and alt left click to choose what you want to clone. So I just want to clone just straight blue right now. I'm gonna let go. I'm gonna bracket up here, and I'm just gonna paint over this with that. Now how this works, if you can see my cursor, there's where I'm painting, and that crosshair shows you what pixels I am copying. Okay, and this is really useful when you're going around things like this. Instead of sitting here and doing the red and the blue, you can just use the cloning feature. I'm gonna decrease the size of my brush. Use the cloning feature, so I'm gonna hold Alt, left click, drag, like let's say that curve right there. And now when I let go, you can see that I have that purple, that red and that blue. And I'm just gonna kind of left click and drag and recreate this line. Okay, so again, it's not perfect. There's still, some smudges here and there, and you can find like there's issues like that. And then I'm probably going to go find a place where you're trying to find a place where you can clone that kind of matches it, or I can just Control Z it and just try to try to do a better job the first time around. Something like that. Okay, and again, it's not perfect, but it does a good job enough. Okay, and likewise over here, I'm going to hit Alt left click to select that to clone. And I'm just going to kind of left click tap, and try to move it over. Actually, I'm going to try to clone it a little bit to the left. I don't want to grab too much blue because then I'm going to draw blue over here and get rid of this much. So instead, I'm just going to use Alt and left click a little bit to the right of that red line. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer so you guys can see a little. If you zoom in closer, obviously it's going to be better too. So you see here, I only have a little hair of red. So I'm going to use a little bit hair of red there. Okay, and again, I'm going to Alt left click again, grab a little bit of that red. Not to merge in with the blue. Okay, and that's about all you need, guys, because seriously, it's going to be like this. Homework's going to be like that size. So what's the chance that you can really see that red smudge anyway? Okay, so I'm going to go over here and just fix this up a little bit. So again, I'm going to use Alt left click, try to drag an area that has that right angle that I want, and just fill it in. Okay, and then use my eraser tool and erase a little bit of that. Okay, good enough. And then I'm gonna go ahead and move forward. So those are the tools I wanted to show you, and so that you can start editing your sprite sheet. And on the future lesson, we'll teach you how to export this animation sheet that you created in Photoshop and touched up and bring it back into Unity. I'll see you guys next video.